Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by Danny. We have just seen Moses Itauma destroy DEMSEY McKEAN inside 2 minutes of the first round in their fight on the undercard of Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. Danny, not too much to review. Obviously, a really short fight. This video is going to be longer than the fight, but your thoughts on that? Itauma, 19 years old, arguably his first fight against kind of a live opponent, against an opponent with a good record, and he does that. Give us your thoughts.
Just devastating, wasn't it? As you say, Marius Wack was a step up, but Marius Wack was a step up in a fighter. He was there to try and give the Itauma some rounds. I don't think he came with too much ambition, whereas DEMSEY McKEAN, as you say, a fighter with a very good record, only lost at close to world level, depending on how you rank Filip Hrgovic. Give Filip Hrgovic an incredibly good fight, took him very all the way to the last round, and Moses Itauma has just absolutely obliterated him. I mean, he gets more impressive as the fights go on. It's difficult not to find yourself getting caught up in the hype, and I'm just so excited that we're still at the infancy of what promises to be an amazing career for us. I'm buzzing for it, buzzing for the next few years of Moses Itauma.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to remind yourself he is 90. He's a teenager. He's 19 years old. He is not kind of 27, 28. You don't get many heavyweights who are 19, yeah, let alone heavyweights who are kind of facing operators that he's faced tonight at his age. Any idea what's going to happen next, Danny? Because I think one problem is here, who's going to fight Moses Itauma? That's kind of the problem. I know he was fighting for some sort of intercontinental belt, which well, one of the various belts that you get in boxing tonight with the WBO. So we've like he's got a rank, he's got a ranking there. There were talks a while back about him fighting Joseph Parker when Joseph Parker had that interim belt. Obviously, Joseph Parker's fighting Daniel Dubois in February. Any idea? Can you give us any guidance on like the route they might take, who we might face, anything at all?
Going to be really difficult, as you say. Who is going to want to fight him? Like, there's losing a fight, and then there's what just happens to Dempsey McKean, and it's at the stage now where Dempsey McKean, you would say, is probably like a fringe top 20, 25 heavyweight, somewhere around there. So you're getting into when you're stepping up from that fighters who will have loads of ambitions of their own, who will have, dreams of getting a world title shot. They're going to look at that and think, if that happens to me, to a 19-year-old, and I'm what, my late 20s, early 30s, how am I going to get back to that stage? So I have no idea. That's going to be a problem for them. I mean, there was talk of a David Adelaide fight for the English title. Is there much appetite for that? That would be probably a sideways step at best, with no disrespect to David Adelaide, who's obviously coming off a first round win of his own. The thing is, they're going to have to get the checkbook out because doing what he's just done in the co-main event and call it one of the biggest cards of the year. Many people would say the biggest. There's going to be millions of eyeballs on him. People, obviously, the likes of me and yourself, have known about Moses Itauma for a couple of years now, but lots of casual fans will have seen him probably more so than ever before. So they've got a real chance to capitalize, and I'm sure. There are no doubts, and Frank Warren, I think Francis Warren manages him, and they will be willing to get that checkbook out. I'd like to see a big name. Like, I'd like to see him back in the UK, headline back in the UK. But the thing is, even the big names that I'm thinking about throwing, I don't see them being competitive fights. Like, how does a fight with him and Joe Joyce go? Dylan White, Derek Chisora, God forbid. I think they end in a similar fashion. But it builds the star of him. I can't think of too many fights that I see as being competitive for him, I have to say.
I think I can't help but think his next couple of fights could be on Riyadh season cards, just because them being in Riyadh season cards means there's more money involved. It means someone might actually fight this guy. I had a quick look at the WBO rankings before we jumped on, and there's not a name. There's only one name that sticks out to me, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, who's ranked in that top 15, who I can see taking the fight, and that's Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin's still in the top 15.
Like that.
Known with British fight fans, went 12 rounds with Anthony Joshua, went the distance with Dillian White, arguably beat Dillian White. Um, that's just I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just someone who's very durable as well. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I just think that's a possibility, and I think it's scary when you mentioned there him fighting big names. But do you want to see him against those big names, i.e., against a Joe Joyce or a Dillian White? Because even at his age and the amount of fights he's had, it can only go. You can only see it going one way. Final question for you, Danny, because there's not too much to say because not too much happened tonight apart from a blistering KO. We're at the end of 2024 now. In 2025, where do you see Itauma kind of being on the verge of a world title shot by then? Well, obviously everyone's talking about this Mike Tyson youngest world heavyweight champion record. Do you see him maybe having more kind of like I want to say out learning fights? I don't know what that really means in the career of Moses Itauma. Any kind of insight you can give us into what sort of year you expect Moses Itauma to have?
So hard to say because obviously him fighting for a world title and attempting to break the Mike Tyson record would be massive, but there's just such a big queue of people who've, as impressed as I've been with Moses and Hammer, they've earned their shot more. You have to say that. So I don't think the record will be broken. I don't think he'll get the opportunity to fight for one. I wouldn't be surprised actually. Jermaine Franklin I think is a great fight for him, by the way. Um, You've got someone who you would think would give him some rounds, given what he done against AJ and Dylan White. And then if he does stop him, you can say, look what I've done to this guy. He caused Dylan White problems. He went the distance with AJ. Maybe a fight with Kubrat Pulev for that WBA regular. You can you can
Yeah.
say he's won the world title. It's another fight he'd be a massive favorite in, but you need to find someone to give him some rounds,
Mhm.
seriously, because you know, whilst I think he would beat a lot of the guys below top level, you're not going to keep doing this to people you wouldn't have thought. In terms of 2025, I think it'd be a real breakout year for him. I think you'll start to see him become a bit of a commercial star. In terms of names, I've not got too many. I haven't got any confidence in, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, we'll see. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one because I just as we mentioned, it's not they're not going to be guys queuing up to fight Moses Itauma, but we'll see. He's not had much of a fight tonight, so I hope we see him in the ring again soon. But we'll see what happens. Danny, good to speak to you as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Thank you.